Thank you. This is Rodney Hamm, the governor candidate in the state of Ohio. And what I wanted to talk about was a training episode or new job adventure I had at the Miami Cemetery located in rural Warren County off 73 by Caesars Creek Lake. I was hired in by the board at the Miami Cemetery and their representative, which was Charles Morgan from the Probation Department, Community Services down in Warren County. He left the cemetery in the hands of Rob Stillwell, and Rob Stillwell left for the military, and Charlie had to come back and train me for the job. As he did, I learned a lot about the going-ons and the infrastructure, actually, of Warren County through a Pentecostal's eyes. And I don't always agree with Pentecostals. I don't always agree with anyone. But me and Charlie found a way to bridge gaps between generations and discuss things. And whether we agreed or not, we both met again tomorrow to discuss more. And we did that over a 3-year period from 2000 until 2003. Some of the stories he told me were atrocious about cover-ups, about neglect, about people doing things that they shouldn't have done and getting by with it because of networks of friends located in the courts. And you got to see firsthand what it was like to have the inside track at Warren County Court. One of his best friends was the Honorable Dallas Powers. And you can go back and look at Dallas Powers through the media and see that he was fired from Warren County Court for some questionable time card involvement, favoritism and whatnot, and had some other issues later on, but was brought back by Columbus to run the appellate court and oversee the decisions made in Warren County Court, which was a good thing because he spent his entire life as a judge, and it'd be a hell of a thing for him just to leave all that knowledge, in his book bag and leave. So I understand that part of it. I told one story about a murder that occurred here in Waynesville back in the civil rights movement. It didn't seem to catch on very well. I don't know if people just didn't believe it because Charlie had said it or because I had repeated it. But figuring that it came from an official at the Warren County Courts, you'd have thought somebody would have got interested in it, especially from a historical aspect, to learn from the mistakes made from the cover-up, and to be able to let people know that Warren County's changed and evolved through the times, and that we no longer adhere to those racist value systems. But in the end, I think we give the message out that Waynesville has its own unique policies, its own unique way of handling things. And that's why people like me and the former mayor, Charlie Sanders, who is passed on, as you can see from the article below, tried to do things through the channels provided to us to change things. And I did that with a program called U.S. for Hope. It was an ALS Community Stadium Challenge. I was inspired to do it because of the Sanders family. I was inspired to do it because I got upset when I seen that Cleveland Browns owners were asking for a new stadium after they had just had the one that Cleveland left for Baltimore and abandoned, rebuilt. And I thought about the Cleveland taxpayers out there. I thought about the Teamsters Union and the truck drivers. I thought about my job back in I think it was November of 2017 or 2018. I thought about how there was $5 million taken from these fuel cards that were sold at the gas stations from the counters there, advertising one price and then saying that you would get a rebate for being a loyal member, and then turning around and not honoring that contract with these truck drivers, Teamsters, and places like R&L Trucking. I thought, what a better way to do things to emulate what he did. They've got a spot on the counter. It's a high traffic spot. I'm a retail manager. I know exactly how it's marketed. and everybody sees it because that's where the rubber meets the road, right there at the register. So everything that happens in that store ends up focused on that register. So I took that marketing concept and I thought about it, and I thought about where do people congregate in their free time outside of work? Churches, sporting events, school functions, festivals, restaurants, uh, and concerts. So I thought a U.S. for Hope uh, campaign could contribute to the education of our young people because we could take things there uh, like that are provided at Human Services for the poor people out here uh, who are struggling, homeless, scared, alone, addicted, afraid, uh, abandoned, uh, turned out, that are asking us for $1 at the gas station or the sporting event. And then we feel bad because we don't have any money, or some people don't want to give it to them because they're afraid they're going to spend it on something that they like. Um, why not have these packages available at games to say, friend, I've got a better deal for you. Instead of giving you $1, right here is the road to recovery. You can recover your life. They have a food pantry right here. They got a bus schedule right here. They've got health care right here, housing right here in this package. And who better to hand it out than the people with all the money in the first place, which is the people who have the venue and the people who are vendors at the venue. And since we have local vendors here in Waynesville that I know and work with, Vale Miller and his family at Heidelberg, who distributed Budweiser products and had a write-up in their Heidelberg magazine nationally about me and their driver, Rod Owens, uh, and what we did as far as being innovative and creative with ideas and going from 28th in the Dayton market to number one and not even close. I said, well, hell, they'll buy into this idea in Waynesville for sure. So I put it out there. I sent it to the council. I sent it to the Chamber of Commerce. I sent it to the high school. I sent it to all the powers that be. And I said, what we need to do is we need to change some things. And we need to honor Charlie Sanders and his family. And we need to do that through the construction going on up there to kind of hit it while the fire's hot and put some signs up that say Charlie Sanders Fieldhouse. And maybe at the baseball fields, maybe at the football fields, maybe in the library, somewhere to let these kids know that we still remember what it's like to watch someone take command and become the leader and the face of Waynesville, Ohio. Even though he was a Democrat in a Republican area and a minority, he did that. And he could inspire the next person who faced the challenge to stick that hand out, stick that chest out like he did with that feather hat on, and shake your hand and show you what an individual can do. Because that's what he did. He erased all the stigmatisms of the Republicans, running the show by being himself and marketing himself to people. And if we did that, we could change our image in the sports world. When people come here, they're not just coming to Waynesville anymore. We have an identity. We overcome. We were led by a man who showed us how to overcome with education, enunciation, and absolute understanding of chivalry, manners. And he did it the right way. I have a plan posted, and what it did was unknown to me. So I just kept plugging at it and threw it at Centerville and Moeller and a few more people, and hopefully it catches on. I wanted to donate part of it, these ALS cool zones, where kids could go and kind of have some fun and donate and let them have a place if they're not interested in game or if you've got a kid that's a little hyper to go have some fun and do something different, playing games or doing an ice bucket challenge and things like that. And I wanted to donate that in the name of someone who struggled with ALS and passed on and left us an incredible story of survival. And those things are the type of things that can change America because it builds bridges from despair to dominance. It shows you how to cross that bridge of hope and to become a martyr, to become the first to do it, to become the person who perseveres over all the adversities and struggles that we have in America. And all of a sudden, a hurricane come along, and I came up with an idea to spin off of that, to take the book that I wrote about how these people have inspired me and how they made me understand what it takes to try to talk to people and be polite and look upon things when they end as blessings from God, things that we can take with us and treasure and put in our toolbox and never forget. And take that book and put it on the same registers where they put the credit card applications that were not honored by Pilot, Flying J, and the Cleveland Browns owners, and have them put on all the stations. And I sent it to all of them. I sent it to McDonald's. I sent it to Walmart. And I hope they put them out because it's free to print for them. You know what I mean? And whatever it costs is minimal compared to asking for 10, 20, 30, 40, $50 donations to be handed in. That's tax free. And I've got all the information there. It's tax deductible at the end of the year for the company for participating. And it's a win-win to get money down here to these hurricane victims in Florida. So hopefully we can see a national movement with these headquarters from people like Murphy Oil, people like BP, people like Marathon, Flying J, Thornton's, Walmart, McDonald's. And I'm telling you that I sent it to all of them, and I backed that up by sending it to the news, to Cosmopolitan magazine, to Women's Day, to Peter King at Sports Illustrated, to ESPN, to the NFL commissioners. I put the work in. So let's hold them accountable and make sure they're out there. And if you see them, donate. I think it's a great idea. And I hope that it catches on. If you want to change something, you have to pick the ball up. Like Keyshawn Johnson said, we can listen all day long, but give me the damn ball. And that's what it takes to win. So write my name in as governor on these absentee ballots and at the voter polls. And then when I lose, we're going to try to turn this thing around, because another story Charlie Morgan told me had to do with some land deals, and there's a couple farmers that joined in talking to him with me. And they told me some information about Lebanon Citizens National Bank. And they're a real estate man, George Hinkle, from Lebanon, Ohio, who I'm sure Scott Wilson or Steve Wilson is affiliated with, or at least knows of, who's our senator. And there was some dirty dealings in all them land deals going up 71 with the same fuel companies I asked to put these pamphlets out, because they all got to buy the properties up from the small mom and pop farmers who never knew anything about the value that they would get out of that land if George Hinkle hadn't bought it from them. And then they told me, they knew all this because of John McMahon at the Miami Cemetery here in rural Warren County and his affiliations with Lebanon Citizens National Bank. And then Charlie followed that up with the fact that they had $150,000 worth of donations put into a fund called the Friends of the Miami Cemetery. And his concern was that it wasn't there for perpetual care, which is what it's supposed to be there for. And at the end of my career there at the Miami Cemetery, they said that they couldn't pay my father and brother, and that's part of perpetual care. So you have to wonder if they were sitting on that $150,000 that's in a trust fund at Lebanon Citizens National Bank. And I would ask Nikki Pollock Shear if it was me. But it's none of my concern. If you own graves out there and you've put money in and donations and stuff for perpetual care, know that they did say that they were not going to pay my father and my brother. And that's why I left the cemetery. For unprofessionalism, I wrote down Charlie's name on the paperwork because he never even thought of that part of them not paying me. So that's why we got in an argument on my last day. Margaret Guilfoyle, I love you. I just wanted you to know the truth. Now we can all focus on this hurricane and then focus on Ohio Senator Hamm once we get people's attention.